Very good evening, all of you. I hope you people have done your assigned work that I have provided to you a few minutes back. How many of you have completed it? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, did you complete making these files, directories, and installing these dependencies?
Yes, ma'am.
So, raise your hands. Let me see how many of you have done it. Harshit, Aditya, and then just nobody else has completed.
I'm still creating it, ma'am.
Great. So after creating the entire file directories and installing the dependencies, do not forget to raise the hand so that I am able to know how many of you have completed.
Ma'am, is this class for merge stack?
Yeah, this is the class of instance.
Ma'am, when the Java second class will be started?
So I guess this is the you can say the last class or the second last class, like the class before the previous class, because after this we are just left with the tailwind CSS. So once the tailwind CSS gets over, we can start with the Java backend development using Spring.
Ma'am, on 20th, the PR review is there, ma'am. So for the in that Java people also should join.
Yeah, Java people should join, and before that, I will teach you people to create the backend using Java Spring Boot. So, on the basis of your chosen tech stack, that is Java Spring Boot or Express for the backend, I'll be asking you the questions. Like for those who have opted for Java Spring Boot for the backend, I'll be asking them the questions related to that. And those who have opted MERN, I'll be asked for the backend. I'll be asking questions to them on the basis of that. Am I
Okay,
clear?
ma'am. Thank you.
Just raise your hands once you have completed the assigned task. All right, shall we proceed with the code? No, Tejas, this is the class for MERN. All right, I hope the screen is visible to all of you. Let's go to our file. So as you people might have seen that these files are getting created after you people have created your files. at first I'll design my nav bar. So inside my nav bar, I can see that I have created courses, dashboard, as well as profile.jsx pages. So in the nav bar, I'll be having only those files. It is very evident. So while I'll create my nav bar, I'll include these courses, dashboard, as well as profile inside my. First, I'll write import the nav bar. I'll write import link from React Rapid. And then I'll import use dispatch as well as use selector, and then I'll tell you why do we use it. And these things are present inside the React Redux dependency that we have just installed. And then finally, I'll import logout. Just after that, what I will do, I'll export a function, that is export default function, and then navbar. And this is what my navbar function is. So before starting with the navbar, I want to make another function inside my slice.js. So what will be that function? That will be my store function. So over here, I'll write import create slice, and then from where am I going to import it? I'll import it from Redux toolkit. Import fetch courses. Here I have made a folder for features, and from there I'll be importing user API. Inside that, I'll be having a function. So before writing this code, let's move again to our navbar. So while designing our navbar, what three things did I tell you people I will include inside my navbar?
Just dashboard and the profile map.
All right. And then here I will write const dispatch is equal to use dispatch and another variable that is const is authenticated. With use selector. Inside that, I'll pass state as the parameter. And then I'll state dot auth dot is authenticated. Then it will return a navbar with link. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between link tag and nav link? None of you know the answer.
Navigate.
No. Anyone else? Okay. So link tag does not have any kind of styling from the very beginning, but in the case of nav link, we have the blue color links which are styled by default. Got it? There is no default style in the link tag. I hope you got my point. Did you understand what did I try to say? Hello. None of you are there inside the class or what?
Yes, ma'am.
So why aren't you people responding? Whenever I am teaching inside the class, I need response from the other side as well. I hope I'm clear. Because if you don't be responsive inside the class, this will directly get highlighted in your marks when you people will be evaluated on the basis of your project. None of you is asking me, ma'am, why are we writing these link tag inside the nav bar and then what are these use dispatch, use selector?
And because these link tags will lead us to the respective the navbar selection menus, lists like dashboard, courses, and profile and all.
Yeah, and the reason that I have imported this use dispatch and use selector is that whenever I'll be calling some kind of function, got it? I'll be having some kind of reducers inside my Redux. So whenever I'll call some function, then this dispatch method will get executed in order to call those functions or in order to execute those functions. Got it? And then this use selector is used for changing the state of a variable. Say for example, initial state of the button is 0. Got it? Say for example, inside a web page, I'm having a button whose initial count is 0. Got it? So this is one kind of state of the button. But if I want to change the state of the button from count 0 to count 1, so how will that happen? That is going to happen from this use selector. So here I have mentioned a variable that is authenticated. So what does that mean? That is related some way or the other to the authentication. And how does that authentication work? If the user is going to press the button, that is login button. Here it is working in this way. So the initial state of the button will be and using this use selector, the state is going to change from logout. Did you people understand?
Ma'am, it can be done by
Why are
using
these?
a use state method also, right?
Yeah, this can be done by using state method as well. So
But
the
what?
very important thing that we need to understand over here is that we are having the hooks that use state, use contact as well as use effect. But why are we using Redux over here? Because Redux is also responsible for the state management. Instead of writing use state, use context, and use effect kind of hooks in each and every component, what we can do, we can create a store over here, right? Once we have created the store, then we can use these kind of stores as well as the methods of these stores in order to change the state of any component that is present inside our web page. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. That's why we use Redux. Instead of writing the same thing again and again for the different things, we are having a centralized element that is our store, from where we have already mentioned our functions, and they will be executed in the other components in order to change their states. Any doubt? See, here you will understand. I'll write is authenticated, and here I'll write button, and then I'll mention an event that is onClick is equal to dispatch. See, I'm calling the dispatch function, right? In order to call the method that is logout method, which I'll be mentioning in other page as well. Inside this, I'll mention the button that is logout. And then the navbar is closed. So here I have designed my navbar and I'm saving there. And then I'll move to my say user API. So inside this user API, I'll import another function that is create async thunk. Async thunk from Redux.js toolkit. And here I'll import Axios from Axios. Any guesses why do we use this Axios?
To fetch the data and to post the data, ma'am. Content.
All right, to fetch the data from any API or the backend to the front end, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So here I'll be creating a function that is const fetch courses is equal to I'll write create async thunk, and here I'll write courses comma async is equal to await dot get, and here I'll be going to mention the API from where I'll be fetching my data. So here I have written this entire URL of the API from where I want to fetch my data. And at the end, I have written limit is equal to 5 because I want to import only 5 lines from that website. So let me copy paste this entire URL in the chat box so that you people can paste in your code as well. So Rahul, whenever you are asking, you are saying the answer, you have to open your mic and say the answer. And then whenever I'll be returning the response, I'll write return response dot data dot map, and inside the map I'll write item as the parameter, which will be having item title. And now here comes another question to you people. Tell me, why do we use this map function? Rahul, open your mic. Rahul, are you there? Kiran, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So Kiran, tell me, why do we use the map function in JavaScript?
To map the data with the indexes.
Can you provide an example where you can use the map function?
Like if you have a key value pairs to make it mapping with the key value pairs, when we want to change the entire data, we use map function for that one.
All right. So that means whenever you want to use the map function, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So here I'll be creating another JSX, that is auth_slice.js. So here I have already imported create slice from Redux.js toolkit as well as fetch courses from the user API. See, I have created the function, right? Fetch courses. This is what I am importing inside my auth_slice.js. Understood? Now here I'll be creating another variable, that is const initial state. So from the variable name, what are you people getting to know? What possible things am I going to mention over here? Tell me.
Objects, ma'am. Object data.
Yeah, object data. So that data will be the very initial states of whichever object I want to make available inside the website. Say, for example, that is the login button. So the very first state or the initial state of my login button is that it shouldn't be logged in, right? It should be logged out only. So for that, I'll be providing is authenticated. So the authentication will be what? False only, right? Because it is not yet logged in. And then I'll write user. Because no user has logged in inside the website, then the user will be none only. And then courses. Courses will be the empty array because the user has not opted any course because he has not logged in inside the website. So how is he going to get the courses? And then finally, I'll be mentioning the loading. So these are what? These are the initial states of my website. Now I'll be creating another variable, that is const auth_slice is equal to create slice. So here I have called the function create slice, which I have imported from Redux.js toolkit. Inside this, what am I going to do? I'll be providing different kind of data inside this slice. So the first data inside the slice is always the name, and the second data is the initial state, and the third data are the reducers. Now you'll ask me, ma'am, what do you mean by these reducers? So inside this reducers, I will be going to mention all those function names that I will be carrying out inside my website. Say for example, I am saying since 5 minutes that I'll be having login as well as log out inside my website, right? So over here I'll be mentioning those two functions inside the reducers. Am I clear with my point, or are there any doubts with you people?
No, ma'am, I don't have any doubt.
Clear, ma'am.
Are there only two people inside the meeting and the rest of the others are sleeping over? Arvind, are you there? All right. So here the name will be auth, and then I'll be mentioning the initial state. After that, I told that I'll be mentioning the reducers, inside which I'll be mentioning those functions which will be there inside my website. So this will have a login function where I'll be providing state and action as the parameters. And here I'll write state dot is authenticated is equal to true. So this is the change that has occurred inside the state. In the previous, that is authenticated was previously false, but now after the login the is authenticated got true. Got it? And then I'll be writing state
ma'am.
dot user is equal to action dot payload dot user. So this was what? My login function. And now coming on to the logout function, can anybody make a guess, or it is so evident that you do not even need to guess what will happen to the state of the is authenticated when the user will log out? Yeah, it will become false because the authentication has completed, then the user has logged in. So at that time it became true, and after the logout the authentication again will become false. So for that I'll write state dot is authenticated is equal to false. So for the logout I have to mention a parameter as well, that is state. And after this is authenticated, I'll write state.user is equal to, it will become null again because the user has already logged out. And after that, state dot courses is equal to an empty array. And here I'll write extra reducers. And here inside this, I'll pass a parameter that is builder. Dot add case will be fetch courses dot pending, comma, and then again the state. State dot loading. So previously, what was the initial state of my loading? It was false. But now, whenever this API will be called, that is fetch courses, the API will be called from the user API. So here, what will be the value of the login? Value of the loading.
True.
Yeah, because it will load the data from the API at first, and then it will provide the user with that data. So for that, here the login is going to be true. And the second case will be fetch courses dot fulfilled, comma. Here there will be two parameters, that is state and action. State dot loading is equal to false, because here the data has already been loaded. That is why the loading will again become false. After that, the state dot courses is equal to action dot payload. And the third and final case will be fetch courses dot rejected. And then here again, the state will be the only parameter. State dot loading is equal to false. Because once the API, the request to the API is rejected, then the loading becomes false only. And after creating these couple of reducers, that is, first is the login and logout reducer, and then we have mentioned an extra reducers, that is builder. And finally, what we will do, we will export these reducers, that is export const login, comma logout with auth slice dot actions. Dot actions. And we'll write export default auth slice dot reducer. So have you written till here? Can we move to the next line of next code snippet? I'm repeating again. When I will ask my doubts and you will not be able to tell me, then you will see. So here
I want to
I'll
take a
import.
screenshot of that code.
So you'll be getting the recorded lecture na, in the YouTube. That
Yes,
means you
ma'am.
were not listening while I was speaking.
No, ma'am. I am currently doing that step you are sent on WhatsApp. So That's why after that I will after meeting I am continuing the lecture, so that's why I want to take a screenshot. Uh, After 1 to 2 hours later you send the YouTube link na. So that's
Okay, all right. So I am going to ask you one question. You have to answer that. Why is the is authenticated becoming false when we are inside the logout function?
ma'am, please repeat.
Because ma'am,
once.
user is already logged in. That's why.
Now moving on to our index.js. So here I'll be importing configure store. So as I have told you people that inside Redux we create a centralized store in order to manage our states, right? So here inside this index.js, what we are doing, we are configuring our store, and we are importing this configure store from Redux toolkit. After that, we will also import our auth reducer that we have just created. Import auth reducer from auth slice. We have just created this one, right? That is the auth reducers that we have made. See? And then I'll write const store is equal to configure store reducer will be auth reducer. Export default store. So this entire thing is the syntax of creating a store. At first, what you have to do, you have to import the configure store in order to create your store. Got it? And then since I'm dealing with the login as well as logout, that is the authentication, that is why I'm naming it as the auth reducers. Whereas if you are also adding some kind of cart in your e-commerce website, so over there you can also write the name as cart reducer, or you can also say if you are inserting a counter button in your website. So over there, in order to change the state of that counter button, what you can do, you can write the counter reducer inside this as well. Am I clear? So for that you have to create more JS files over here as well. For the cart you have to create cart slice.js, or for the button you can also create counter button count button slice.js. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So since we have already created our nav bar, we will go to the courses.jsx and we will design these 3 pages. So inside the course, I'll import use effect from React. And what is this use effect? What is this use effect? I've just told you na, that these are the hooks.
Ma'am, user effect will it helps to fetch the data direct from the DOMs.
So why are you answering late? After 1 to 2 minutes when I am questioning?
Ma'am, my mic was not able to set because of the changing. Though I was setting my mic, that's why my answer was late.
So what have I imported? I have imported the use effect hook, then use dispatch as well as use selector. That I've already explained to you people. Are you? Will you be able to answer if I ask this the same question about how does the use dispatch and use selector work? That I explained to you people just a few minutes back. Nobody see.
Ma'am, use dispatch function is basically. I'm audible, ma'am?
Yeah, yes, you are. Go on.
I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Go on. Tell the answer.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, use dispatch function is basically for to give the changes on the state while we are changing on the front ends, and then they will be counter the states of the changes, and those functions will be get stored on the stored function. So just or dot slice and card dot slice, just like that, to handle those states use
Harshit,
states.
you didn't listen at all. You have to see the lecture again. That is the recorded lecture. So don't just answer now. So repeating the work of this use dispatch as well as use selector again. That whenever we are going to call some kind of function, that is reducer that I have mentioned over here. Whenever I will be calling these logout function, how are these function going to call? Through this use dispatch method. And the use selector method is responsible for change in the state of the present variable. Keep these two things inside your mind. So default function courses const dispatch is equal to use dispatch const courses loading is equal to use selector I hope over here you will be able to get your thing a bit clear.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you get what did you get clear? Tell me.
Ma'am, what's the use of use? Excellent. 1 second. Use dispatch and use selector. What's after a few seconds ago you tell us what's the difference between that?
Okay, see.
The you
So a few minutes back, I told you people that this dispatch method is used in order to execute the functions, isn't it? So for that, inside this dispatch method, I have written fetch courses. See, fetch courses I have written. So this dispatch is used to call this fetch courses Where is it present? It is present inside the user API. So what will happen? Inside this user API, when the fetch courses will get executed, over there I'll get data from this mentioned website. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
now understood the difference between use dispatch as well as use selector? At
Yes,
least for
ma'am.
now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. So here I'll return a div tag inside which I'll place a header courses, and after the header I'll place a condition. Tell me, what is this operator called? Come on, fast. I'm not going to wait for your answer. What is this operator called?
Ternary operator.
Conditional.
Ternary operator, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So how does this operator work? Like which conditional statement does it work?
No answer.
If else, right?
If else.
Which means that if the loading is true, then this paragraph will get displayed, or else inside this unordered list, I'll get the courses. Dot map course, comma, ID. Key will be and then the dispatch will get closed. So are you able to understand the meaning of this entire line?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what does this mean?
If loading is true, then the paragraph title will in loading statement will be shown. If it is
That means
false,
the first statement, right?
yes, first statement. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Otherwise, next statement. Post.map and it will display the information which is getting fetched from the API.
Okay. So here is our course.jsx. Now moving on to our dashboard.jsx. Over here, I'll import use dispatch. From React Redux. And then I'll import login. In which file did we mention this login reducer? Inside the store, right? Inside the dashboard only. I'll be placing a button. And what button is going to be placed inside this? I'll be placing a login button so that the user is able to log in inside the web page. So what does this mean? This dispatch method is calling the login reducer, which is present inside our auth slice.js file. So whenever I'll call the reducer word, this directly means that the dispatch method is going to call the login function that I have mentioned inside the reducers. Got it? So after calling this login function, what will happen? The user, which was previously null, now become to test, which directly means that the state of the user is changing from null to test. So in order to make this change happen, we will click this button and the name of button is going to be login. And after clicking this button, this event is going to take place. So that's it for the dashboard. We will save it and now we'll move to the profile. So inside the profile, there is nothing much work to do. We'll simply export a function before function. And here I'll return a div tag. inside which I'll place a header which will be displaying profile. And inside the header, I'll also have one p tag which will display the user with this is your profile page. Save it. I'm moving to the app.jsx. Come out. Navigate from React Router document. Import dashboard. Import courses. Import profile. Import number. Function app will be const. At first, it will check whether the state of the login is true. So for that, it will take the variable that is authenticated is equal to use selector. And for checking that, it will take the state as parameter and then state dot auth dot is authenticated. After that, it will return set this a navbar with a self-closing tag, and here the routes. And within the routes, we'll mention route. Path will be, if the path is empty, then the element is equal to, it will navigate to the dashboard. And the endpoints here will be dashboard And here the endpoint will be courses. And then the endpoint will be profile. Yes. See, in both the cases, if there is no API endpoint, then also it will navigate to the dashboard. As well, if the dashboard is mentioned as the API, then also it will take us to the dashboard page. And then if the courses will be the endpoint, then it will check if it is authenticated. That means if the user has logged in. If the user has not logged in, it will not take us to the courses page. So for that, inside the element, we have to write is authenticated, followed by a ternary operator, and then if it's true, then it will take us to the page courses. And if it is false, then it will take us to the page dashboard only. And the same will be repeated inside the profile as well. In order to visit the profile page, you have to log in the website at first. And finally, after mentioning these endpoints, we will finally export the app function. Save it. Now finally moving on to the main.jsx file. Here I'll import React from React. Then import React DOM. From React DOM and client. Import app from app.jsx. And then import index.css. Import browser router. And finally, we will import store that we have created. Dot create root document dot get element by id. The id is root. dot render over here, React strict mode dot strict mode, and inside this I'll write provider and then store is equal to store browser router, and inside this I'll place my app. So now I'll go to my computer and I'll write npm run this. Okay, so before that, cd my app npm run dev. Are you being able to see over here? That is when the endpoint is dashboard. Now here I am inside the dashboard. But if I'll click on the courses, I'm not being able to get redirected to the courses. So for that, when I'll click on the login button, I'll go to my courses. See, inside the loading, I'm getting all my course contents that I have imported from the mentioned API that I have mentioned over here. From this API, I'm getting this entire content here. And now inside the profile, I'm getting this is your profile page. And once I click on this logout button, okay. So after once logging in, I can log out as well. So are you able to see the output?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If
Yes,
there are no any doubts with you people, you can leave the meeting here. This is enough for today's class.